something I've noticed across years of working with people at every level of organisations. The problem is almost never that people don't have good thinking. The problem is that they don't trust it enough to use it. They have the insight, they see the thing others aren't seeing, they know the question that needs to be asked, but they hold back, waiting until they're more senior, more confident, more certain it's worth saying. I'm Trish Goodfield, and today I want to talk about what that holding back really costs and how to start doing something different. There's something that most people carry around but rarely actually name up. You know what you think. You're just not sure if it's appropriate to say it, or if it will be received well, or if it's your place to bring it up. So your thinking stays internal. You don't share the idea. The question never gets asked. And over time, the habit of filtering yourself becomes so automatic, you stop noticing it. The space between knowing and doing is not a confidence problem. Not at its root. It's a permission problem. Most people are waiting for permission they're never ever going to receive from outside of themselves. Permission has to come from within. Here's a useful exercise. Think back over the last 6 months or so. Were there moments where you noticed something before anyone else did? Situations where your instinct turned out to be right. Maybe times when you had a thought that, if you'd said it, might have changed the direction of something. Most people, when they really sit with this question, can recall several. They just dismiss those moments at the time as ordinary or lucky or not reliable enough to act on. But they weren't ordinary, they were clues. They were your weird wisdom already active, already offering insight. You just weren't using them intentionally. Recognition can change this. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And when you start using it intentionally, things change. You stop asking where you fit and you start sharing what you see. I want to name up the most common things I hear when I ask people why they don't share their thinking. First one, it's not fully formed yet. And neither is most useful thinking when it first appears. This isn't fully worked through yet, but here's what I'm noting is a valid and valuable sentence. You don't need a complete argument. You need a starting point. The second thing, it's probably not my place. There's no role in any organisation whose job description says, notice things and keep them to yourself. Useful insight belongs in the conversation, regardless of where you sit in the hierarchy. Third thing people say, what if I'm wrong? Then you're wrong, and the conversation helped you find that out. Being wrong in a conversation is not a career-ending event. Staying silent when you had something useful to contribute, that's a longer-term cost. In my digital guide, Weird Wisdom at Work, 10 Myths Holding You Back, Myth 5 addresses the belief that I'm not weird enough for this. Honestly, weird doesn't mean strange. It means uniquely you, your way of seeing, thinking and solving. And that's what we're talking about. Everyone has something others don't approach in quite the same way. And I want to offer you this. You don't need to feel ready before you start using your thinking. Readiness comes through use, not before it. The confidence most people are waiting for isn't going to arrive gift-wrapped one day. It develops through the small, repeated act of putting your thinking into the world and finding out it's more useful than you expected. Start with small moments. For goodness sakes, don't practice it in the all-hands meeting or the presentation to the leadership team. Start in a conversation with a colleague. Share a thought you'd normally keep to yourself. Ask a question you'd normally ignore. Notice what happens. Not whether it was perfect, whether it was useful. Because that distinction matters. Here's something concrete for you this week. Write down one thought you've had recently at work that you kept to yourself. Just one. Then ask, if I had said this, what might have been possible? Look, you don't have to say it now, but see what it looks like when you name it. That's often the first step, just making the thinking visible to yourself. In the next video, we're talking about teams, what happens to a team's thinking when weird wisdom is present versus when it's absent, and what you can do to move that dynamic from wherever you sit. I'll see you then.